is Whataburger Friday Night Stars, presented by Game On Sports, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Here's Kyle Yeomans, Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, and Heckma Harrison.
Whataburger Friday Night Stars is back. Watch the right side of your screen over the...
Oh my God!
Anthony Orgy from Rockwall laying down the hammer. Anthony Orgy.
One of Wolchuk's players to watch mid-season.
Shake and bake!
Duncanville for the score. Long quarterback touchdown run. Look at this onside kick. Back to that Rockwall game. High up in the air. Perfectly placed.
Gutsy, baby.
Near sideline. Playoff action all over the place. This is in Seastat, or this is Mesquite Poteet and Seastat.
We got a
he's
house
got a
call.
seam.
House call. Get
Yes,
out the
we
way.
do!
College Station can play.
They can't play, and they continue to lead Poteet. And then going from there, how about your alma mater, Eric? Justin Northwest.
Oh, yes.
58 yards off the screen.
Oh, Red Moses is screaming on the sidelines.
It's fireworks at NISD
And
Stadium.
guys, one more time. How about Anthony Orgy? Just for fun, over the middle.
Oh, my God.
Worth a second look, I think, yes.
Did we just witness a death on screen?
No, he popped back up. He's good to go.
Holy.
Kudos to you, Luke's.
Whataburger Friday Night Stars, we are back. Overtime is here.
I like the flip.
The flip of the card. This has been an unbelievable start to the playoff season.
Wow.
In Texas high school football. And, man, it has been fun to be with you. Oh, there's Salina and Wilmer Hutchins going over
What
the top
a
of me.
comeback
That's okay.
win it was for Salina.
It really was. It was a great win for Salina.
Kenny
But glad you're with
Chesney
us.
was there.
Kyle Yeomans hosting alongside the great Heckma Harrison, who's off screen. There he is. Zach Wolchuk and Eric Chiafalo, as we kind of go through this by districts week of playoffs, the first round of the Texas high school football playoffs. And, man, we've got some incredible games to get to. But first off, just kind of some of the top storylines that we're looking around really the entire area. There's games like Trinity. And how about Arlington Martin? The Warrior spirit is there for Arlington Martin. That's a close football game. 21-20 was the score at halftime. I don't know if there's any changes there, guys, but
There has been a change. It is now 35-27. Trinity is now up. They took a kickoff return for a touchdown to open the third quarter. So that was Colby Parton, 94 yards to the house. Then they just ran another 32-yarder in. But this is a heck of a game here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Coming in on the pregame show, you guys were making fun of me. I was hyping up Arlington Martin and this offense. And looky here, it's a one-score game in the third quarter. Playoffs, gentlemen. I mean, come on.
Playoffs?
Now, I'll tell you what,
We're
man.
talking about
My
playoffs.
surprise is that Duncanville was actually losing in the second quarter,
Yes, they were.
14-7. They've given up 14 points in
Not
this
the
game.
Duffel Bag Boys.
The Duffel Bag Boys has given up 14 points. Amazing.
Did they give up 14 points all season?
No.
I mean, my goodness.
14 points. Wow.
Yeah, no, that is probably the most they've given up all year.
it might be,
That is
especially in the
shocking.
first
I think
half.
they did-
Isn't that your state champion, state champion,
And
Walchuk?
it's not looking great, but they're still up. All they got to do is win. All you got to do is win and advance, baby. That's how we do this bracket.
My
Win
goodness.
and advance on to the next one. So they're not out of it yet. And how about Louisville? Down 13-0. They've scored 3 times here to start the second half. They're up 20-13 right now on Keller. And we thought it'd be a dogfight with Geyer and Flower Mound. Geyer up right now, 24-14. But Flower Mound is driving. There's just so much going on. And Arlington Bowie. Arlington Bowie's up on Holtham 28-25 at halftime.
That's huge. Absolutely.
Crazy.
Where's Michael Black been in that regard? I'm sure he still had an incredible game, but for some
Yes,
reason,
Bowie's
Holtham is
finally
losing.
playing up to their potential.
That might be exactly what is happening there. But let's go through some of the 6A games. We'll start right up at the top of that Division I, 6A, Region 1. And we'll take a look quickly at the bracket and what's going on there. But, man, there is so much to look at from across really all the regions. We'll start at the big boys with Martin and Trinity. We kind of mentioned that game just a moment ago. And you look at the way that Martin has kind of been able to start things off and how they were able to get off to that quick start. And now Euless Trinity, you have to look at them and say the response is there, but at the same time, Martin's not out of it, only down by a score right now.
No, they've just been answering score for score. It started out with Martin, then Trinity, then back and forth. It's a 21-20 score game at halftime. And then next thing you know, Trinity comes out, kickoff return for a touchdown. Martin answers, and then Trinity another touchdown run. And we got ourselves an offensive game here. We knew coming in, Brandon Theus was going to be the man for Trinity. And then on the other side, it's been Mundell, the young guy for Martin. We knew coming in, he was the sophomore quarterback, dual threat guy. But Willie Roberts closed the game last week and really dominated. Well, really, Willie Roberts has 2 rushing touchdowns tonight, but Mundell's the one who's getting the start at quarterback, and he's doing it well on the ground. He's got a rushing touchdown himself and a passing touchdown, 96 yards through the air. So Mundell and that offense are doing enough, but Trinity getting touchdowns not only offensively, kicking, in the kicking game, getting a kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, this thing seems to be coming down to the wire. 2 teams that like to run the ball, getting it done on the ground.
And I think you deserve a lot of credit. You talked up Martin,
you did.
And Martin was a team that, I said, hey, that Warrior spirit earlier in the year when they had to play Arlington, well, It didn't come out, but they're showing it here. I mean, Arlington, Martin, and Trinity, 2 teams that have made deep playoff runs. We know Myles Garrett, heck, he's a graduate from Arlington Martin. They've had some good players. But, I mean, your guy, Willie Roberts, you were all over Willie Roberts in the pregame, and he has really been the difference maker, keeping Martin in this. Now, Trinity does have the lead, and it seems like I still believe Trinity's going to win this football game. But the fight that Arlington Martin's showing, this has turned out to be one of the more entertaining games of the night.
Yeah, one of the things that Arlington did when they delivered the first blow, and I think that's what you got to do when you got a bully on the block. You got to hit him in the mouth first. And, hey, look at Arlington Martin. They came to fight today. The Warriors is not just a nickname.
No, it's not a nickname. It's a whole ideal and an idea around that program. But whenever we looked at this game pregame, what was one of the things that stood out? Defense, right? That defense has not been there, at least in the first half. 300 yards basically for both teams. Martin needs another yard to do so. But over 300 yards for both teams and over 27 points for both teams as well. And that's going to continue going as it really has no signs of slowing down right now. Is that something that surprises you guys overall?
I mean, it does surprise me a little bit in terms of Trinity's defense. I would say I would have expected more from them coming in. But overall, I think we know both of these offenses, if they get going in the running game, it gets going in particular, then they're really, really difficult to stop. The thing is Trinity hasn't even gotten anything going through the air. And we know that's not their bread and butter, but usually there's 1 or 2 plays a half where they get big chunks down the field. You haven't seen that at all. You wonder, and they're still up in this game, and that's really thanks to a kickoff return for a touchdown to open the second half, but still, you got to give credit to Trinity not being able to throw the ball at all, still finding a way to come out on top right now.
Well, and another thing I think that happens in the playoffs is the fact that teams are not familiar with one another. It's your first time seeing each other out of district play. You're doing a lot of film study on schools that you had never seen before, and I think you've seen a lot of these teams that we thought were just going to come out and dominate from the opening bell. Things going in the opposite direction, especially for a team like Trinity.
But for Trinity, it is still the big play. I mean, you mentioned the kickoff return. They also have a 74-yard touchdown run for Brandon Theus. So a lot of times when you talk about teams and being run-first teams, these are schools that get big-time runs. Like we're talking 50-yard, 30, 70-yard touchdown runs. They can still be big play home run threats, even if they're still a run-first team here in high school football. It's not just you've got to throw the football. I mean, everybody gets enamored with Highland Park and Allen and the teams that have won state with their spread and throwing it around. Teams like Euless Trinity and Arlington Martin can still hit home run plays by ground and pound.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it. That's where they really make their identity known, especially Trinity over the past couple of seasons. That's exactly what we've been able to see. Now moving on from that game, kind of going to the bottom half of that top part of the bracket. How about DeSoto and Skyline? This was also a dogfight of a football game early. How about that? DeSoto, at one point, were they down in this game or tied in this game? It was very close early on, but they've been able to pull away since then.
Yeah, they started off down 7-0. Belton Gardner's had himself a night. He in that first half, he came out, 8-yard touchdown run. DeSoto tied it up, but then Skyline's defense, that's what it's going to be. I mean, if you're a team and you're playing against a ranked opponent, somebody that might be better than you in these kind of situations, you've got to use your defense and special teams to make a play for you. Mm-hmm. Skyline got it. Jordan Thompson, a 30-yard fumble return for a touchdown, but give DeSoto credit. They've answered the call, and Skyline's held their stride for stride. Gardner had an 83-yard touchdown to make it 21-14. 14, but DeSoto's offense is really starting to take form right now.
Yeah, they're up by 14 points. And, you talk about Skyline's defense, but gosh, in the second quarter, they got punched they gave up a few big plays that have affected them. But if you look at the stats, guys, they're almost identical. 275 for Skyline, 287 for DeSoto, 1 turnover apiece. Even the penalties and first downs are almost the same. I mean, so this game isn't over. Even it's a high-scoring game. No one's playing defense. I mean, it's definitely going to be a high-scoring game, this one.
Yeah, it's already that. If you look at the score and you go from there, of course, there's a lot of time left in that one, as with a lot of the other games going on. Let's take a look at 6A Division I Region, really 1B is what we're going to call this. The bottom half of the region. We've got a lot of reporters scattered throughout some of these games because Permian Coronado is up at the top. That game kicked off at 7:30. We'll get some updates on that from just a little bit outside of our area, but we've also got Arlington Lamar and San Angelo Central, and this was a game that I think both of us, or all four of us, looked at and said, hey, this is going to be a close matchup. However, Lamar, oh my goodness.
Sweet Jack Dawson.
Yeah, and this was a pick'em game, I believe.
Yes, it
when
was.
We posted our predictions on social media.
Yes,
we ran
we
out
did.
of time, so we're doing a little fun thing. You can get some added content on our social medias. And I think we were split at the table. I know I went Lamar. I think Eric went Lamar because we're Jack Dawson guys.
I went San Angelo.
Through and through.
I went Lamar as well.
Yeah, Central. So you went Central. Heck, man. And honestly, I didn't think that. I mean, because I'm a big Malachi Brown fan.
Yes.
That kid's been tearing it up. And San Angelo Central has had the playoff success, whereas Arlington Lamar not as much in recent years. But you can't give Arlington Lamar enough credit with how dominant this offense has been against what is really a good San Angelo Central team.
Yeah, really surprised at this score right now because, obviously San Angelo Central is a team that has all the history behind them. But, Arlington Lamar came out and completely put it on them, 48-7. Nobody could have saw that. And like you said, Malachi up until this point has been playing lights out, and I don't know, maybe the lights are too bright.
And credit to Lamar for bouncing back after their first loss of the season.
Absolutely.
First real adversity, and it's right before playoffs. It's sort of like the worst timing situation there. And they bounced back and absolutely put it on them, man. That's a great win.
Really a well-coached game all around. I mean, they've only got 3 penalties for 12 yards, and you look at it offensively, such balance. 150 yards on the ground, 215 through the air. Lamar's really just playing like a well-oiled machine on the offensive side of the football right now.
What a catch over the top. We're looking at some of the highlights from that game. Lamar in that gold top with the gold helmet or whatever, navy underneath it. But
you see Jordan Williams.
Yes.
He's having a night on the ground. He has a 20-yard touch, a couple of touchdowns for him, really 3 already. So just a dominant effort by Lamar.
Yeah, they've been absolutely dominant, and you can see that on the stat line as well, forcing a couple turnovers on their end. The winner of that one gets Permian or Coronado. Permian, of course, pretty stout team coming out of West Texas. How about Louisville and Keller? Louisville, we talked a lot about the Fighting Farmers last week and their battle of the axe for between the Fighting Farmers and the Marcus Marauders. Well, they took that one last week. They are currently in a dogfight, though, right now with Keller and the Indians. This is still a good game. We also talked about it in the pre-show with Nick Nepic as well, the voice of Louisville. And guys, this is still a dogfight of a football game, and it's right as well.
Yeah, A.J. Newsome for Louisville is having a great game. I mean, he's already thrown for 2 touchdowns, got some yards down on the ground, but that's been the difference for Louisville. And that defense, has had to rely, the offense has had to rely on the defense, but it looks like it's the other way around tonight.
We talk about, mental fortitude, and Louisville got down 13-0 in this game. And we made a note. I mean, these are 2 teams that are in search of their first playoff win for quite some time. I mean, for Louisville, they haven't advanced since 2007. For Keller, they haven't advanced since 2004. So 2 teams in search of playoff success. 13-0, the Indians get out early. And then, like you said, A.J. Newsome and the Fighting Farmers rallied the troops. They came out in the second half. Coach Odell must have said something to get the juices pumping because they came out,
Odell rules, baby.
Scored 3 unanswered points, and Enoch and Chobo just scored to tie this one up at 20, and it's late in the fourth quarter. 1:32, Keller has the football right now, and they're looking at a 3rd and 5, so they might be giving it right back to the Fighting Farmers, who will have a chance to go ahead and win this football game in the final possession, or we might see overtime.
And Chobo
overtime
has
in the by-district round.
And Chobo has 143 yards so far on that Louisville defense.
We know that man's a monster.
Well, in the pre-show, we talked about the winner of this game. We knew it was going to be close. We kind of looked at it as a pick'em game, and we ended up having it as a pick'em game. Did we all go Louisville, or did we split?
I went Keller.
You went Keller.
And I think Heckma went Keller.
Okay, so we split that one, which is about par for the course because of how close that game was, which it was, and it still is a split game, 2020. But we saw that second round matchup looming with Duncanville, almost chalked it up, put it in pen, put it in Sharpie, whatever. But it's not yet for the Warrior spirit still alive. How about South Grand Prairie? They're not winning the ball game right now, but against those stingy, powerful Duncanville Panthers, hey, the Warriors are not that far behind, only a score down right now.
No, not at all. I mean, and it's been the story of Titus Jackson. I mean, 54-yard pass from Drake Logan surprised the heck out of the Panthers. I mean, they were down 14-7 in the second quarter, and I think that's the only time that they've been down the whole season.
I think it's the only time they've given up 2 touchdowns the whole season. This defense is looking at each other like, guys, what
just happened?
What just happened? This isn't normal.
Yeah, so Jaquindon Jackson finally got slapped around. I guess he's waking himself up. He had a 48-yard run there to knot everything up at 14-14. And then my man Javon Fontaine had a 23-yard run to pull the Panthers ahead 21-14. And so, guys, we still got a lot of football left in this game.
Yeah, lots of football left, and anything can happen.
And
of course.
It is 14 points is the most Duncanville's allowed all year. They gave up 13 to an out-of-state team, Evangale from Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's unbelievable to think about. That's how special and how really dominant that entire Duncanville defense has been all year long. Let's continue down the bracket. Let's go to Region 2 inside District 6A, Division 2. Starting with Allen and the Eagles. Guys, we talked about the potential of the Rowlett Eagles to maybe figure something out and reach one into the bag, going back in time, maybe to one of those upsets like there was in 2007. It's not the case. Allen and the Eagles they're not reaching for anything right now except for maybe the sweat towel on the sideline because they're having some issues with Allen and the Eagles. Guys, what's the score for that one?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, we're looking at a 42-14 Allen Eagle lead, and it was only 14-7 midway through the second quarter.
How about that?
For that, I mean, that's a win for Rowlett.
0-0 to start the first. I mean,
yeah, that was the closest, right?
How about
then
that?
Really, Grant Tisdale, I mean, a 40-yard touchdown run, a 55-yard touchdown run. We talk all about his arm, but he's doing it with his legs tonight.
He is doing it with his legs, and there's not a whole lot else we can talk about it. An impressive amount of yards put up by Rowlett, and after being shut out by Saxe that final week of the season, it's a pretty good little turnaround for the Rowlett Eagles. They'll go out playing well, passing the ball well, but that ground game and really just the entire Allen Eagles team is just too much for anybody right now. I do have an update, though, from one of the games we just started talking about. Keller, Louisville, OT is official. That one has hit zeros in the fourth quarter, tied at 20.
Wow.
They will go into overtime to see who moves on to take on the winner of Duncanville.
Pressure.
How fun is that? You're
Yeah.
a senior. This could be your last game. You get a chance for a little bit of overtime, playoff action.
Oh, free
Golly,
football.
this is fun, man.
We got Louisville Keller by-district overtime action on the overtime here on Friday Night
I
Stars.
tell you what,
exactly
man.
right.
Every coach, both coaches, every orifice has gotten a little tighter now, guys.
Yeah, well, we know the Keller coach. We had him on the show. He's an aggressive guy. He'll go for 2 if he needs to,
know,
that
right?
kind of deal. He'll go try to win the game.
Yeah.
This is, and you know, this is the kind of game where if you saw it getting into the 20s, you were going to lean towards Keller because they have more of the firepower. Well, we're neck and neck now. Let's see if Keller can pull it out.
Yeah, definitely. And you man, playoff time. How about overtime in playoff time? Nothing like it in Texas high
it's
school
incredible.
football.
That's all you got to do. OT with OT.
Yeah, exactly right.
OT.
Now,
Yeah,
I
something
did
like
just
that.
get a text message from our boy, Adrian Jagish, and of course, he's been outstanding all season long for us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Well, he's at College Station and Mesquite Poteet, and that was a game early that College Station was winning pretty handily. However, Mesquite Poteet, in all caps, he says, Poteet stepping up their game. They're only behind by 3 right now. It's 34-31. We'll check in with Adrian a little bit later. The defending state champions and the College Station Cougars maybe in trouble a little bit on the road at Mesquite Poteet. That's a good game, and we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Let's go back to 6A, though. Keep it going and keep it rolling there. The winner, well, it's going to be Allen. Allen will face the winner of Belton and Rockwall. Belton coming out of the Super Syntax area, District 12 6A, and Rockwall out of 11 6A. The Yellow Jackets at home We know what Jacob Clark and company can do, putting up some big-time numbers, and they've done just that. We saw the hit from Anthony Orji on that defensive side of the football. Well, how
RIP
about
to
this
that
score?
guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's
Getting
been
it done.
It's been all orange jackets in this one, wouldn't you say?
Big B versus the big R, and the R is taking the dominant.
Well, I tell you what, man. Anytime you see one of your teammates go over the middle and take a hit like that, that just sets notice to everybody else not to go over the middle.
Did he catch that ball, by the way? I don't even. If he caught that,
That's actually a great question.
And
Because I was proud that he got up so well, but if he caught the football too, major tough.
because I didn't see the ball go
over
flying.
under. He caught it.
I think he did.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely.
we might need
You know what? And credit
We
to
may have to
Orji
run that back.
for
You know
that
what?
being
I'm gonna-
and actually a legal hit. You know, you rarely get to see those these days. Legal, just
I mean,
dominant.
it depends.
smacks
It's
over
legal
the
depending
middle.
on who the ref is, right? Any hard hit is deemed flaggable these days.
Well, I
feel
do
like.
think the refs at Belton and Rockwall
Did a great
tonight were
job.
incredible.
Did a great job.
Oh,
And
here it is. Boom!
Oh,
he caught
Nikes, man! He did.
Oh, my
look.
gosh.
oh my
Oh, I
gosh,
think
he
he
did
did
catch it.
He
No,
caught
run
it.
it
Did he
again,
really?
run it again.
Yep, running it back.
Oh my gosh! The hardest.
Oh,
he did catch
the
it.
hardest
He caught
5
it.
yards he's ever earned in his
He
life.
caught
Look at the referee. Let's look at this one more time. Look at the referee on the hash marks. He just turns around. Doesn't make any,
Ooh,
like,
he didn't even flinch.
It's football.
he just wanted to check it. He wanted to check up on the kid.
I
And that's how
can't
big
believe
of a
he
hit
caught
that
that
was.
ball.
Are you okay?
Playoff football.
No, the referee said Jesus Christ.
Oh,
That's what
boy.
he said.
Wow, that was
That
Saying,
was-
wow, that one hurt my ears a little bit. I heard that one.
It, man. That
Back
was
to Rockwall,
amazing.
though. I mean, it's been the Jackson Smith and Jiba show. We talked about in pregame the Ohio State commit. This guy's doing it all. I think he's already got 3 touchdown passes. One of them an 82-yard bomb from Jacob Clark. So, we're looking ahead at Rockwall and Allen now, both with huge leads, matching up in the area around next week. That game's going to have some fireworks.
Oh, it definitely will. There's going to be a lot of
fun.
points put up in that one, much like we thought in this Belton game. And Rockwall's kind of a team that's sleeping. Maybe a lot of people are sleeping on them, I should say, heading into the playoffs. It's just tough to try and see anybody over Allen, but at the same time, Rockwall could put up some points. Maybe that matchup works out in their favor. Of course, Cedar Ridge and Langham Creek and the Woodlands and Benjamin Davis on the bottom half of that bracket, but we'll skip over those teams and go back to Saxe and Plano East. They're up at the top of that bottom half of Region 2 at the 6A Division 1 level as we take a quick look at really what Saxe's been able to do over Plano East. And this was another game that we looked at, and Plano East is kind of been not the same, is probably safe to say, ever since that loss to Allen. But Saxe really finishing strong, winning a good district, and also putting up big numbers against Rowlett, another playoff team in this region that really they blanked them last week, and they completely did. 48-0 was the score a week ago, but continuing that momentum into the playoffs here.
And the bugaboo for East during their little skid was turnovers. They went from being a team that was very, very smart with the football. They forced a lot of turnovers, and during the skid, they've turned the ball over, and they did it again tonight. To start the second half, it was a 13-7 game. They had the lead. And, to start the fourth quarter, Braylon Brooks takes a pick six, 48 yards to the house, and since then, Saxe's got the lead now. Brandon Mallory had a 38-yard touchdown run in that fourth quarter to try and cut it to 2, but then another Derrick Rose touchdown. And it's just amazing the difference. You finally find a guy, he's a skill player, and we talked about this a lot at high school football. If you don't have a quarterback, put your best skill player there and let him do his thing. And that's what Saxe's done with Derrick Rose. He was an outstanding athlete, and they went ahead and said, we're not going to play him at receiver anymore. We're not going to play him at running back. Forget this. Just play quarterback. And he's gone out there and made all the difference in the world, really provided consistency and spark for the Saxe team. We knew their defense was really good, even without Hunter Spears. But they now have stability on offense with Derrick Rose leading the ship.
Yeah, Torrey Washington also at running back is doing a phenomenal job tonight. I mean, Saxe on the ground at 306 yards. I mean, they have dominated from start to finish and not really given Plano East a lot of time to hold on to the ball simply because they've kept their offense off of the field. And I think that's a great game plan for an athletic Saxe team, just basically keeping that Plano East offense off of the field.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at it from a Plano East perspective, and really a team that had state championship aspirations going into the season. They thought they had the talent to do so. Now some injuries and whatnot have kind of gotten in the way of that a little bit, but it's still not been the same season that Plano East has wanted with what they have seen this season. So that's it for 6A Division 1.
Quick
We'll run
update,
I'm not
if you
going
don't mind.
to go to break just yet. I'm going to look
that's
through
fine.
some of the scores right now real quickly. What you got?
But just to update before we move over into the region, just to stay with Louisville and Keller real quick. quick. Louisville scored in their first. A.J. Newsome had an 8-yard touchdown run to open overtime. Keller right now banging at the door. Enoch and Chobo's already got him at the 1-yard line. So it's 27-20 in the first overtime. High school rules, obviously, each team gets a chance, much like college football. So this one could end up going to double overtime.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, that's going to be a lot of fun to look at whenever that comes forward. Some other scores kind of looking down the list. Arlington Martin still trailing Euless Trinity 42-27. Argyle all over Carrollton Ranchview with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Argyle 70, Ranchview 7. Oof, not a very good score there. College Station and Mesquite Poteet still 34-31 there. Denton, Geyer, and Flower Mound. We're going to talk about this game in a little bit. But Geyer leading 31-28 over Flower Mound.
Wow. And it's really 31-21. It's 31-21. They're having a little bit of a bugaboo here.
Oh, it is.
On
I
Sports
see
Day.
exactly what you're saying here.
But yeah, it's 31-21. But Flower Mound, I believe, does have the football, and they are driving right now.
Rowlett's put up 21 points now against Allen. A little bit of a comeback, maybe 49-21.
Moral victory. Moral victory.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
And I got a text from Ashley Pickle, who was at that game, and Ashley told me that she said the quarterback for Rowlett's killing me because I don't know how. She says she doesn't know how he doesn't have 25 delay of game penalties because he's waiting until the last second to snap that football, trying to keep that Allen offense off the field. And it hasn't worked out. Really, they
you
still
also
put up
now need to
49
score
points.
some points. So
That's
you might
exactly
want to
right.
try and hurry it up, Chase, too, Paul.
Highland Park.
My goodness.
Highland Park over Frisco Independence right now, 28-14, and then Mansfield Lake Ridge 38-14 right now over Lake Highlands. How about Frisco Lone Star 27-0 over Mansfield Legacy? And then I'll tell you, I've by far now just run across the most surprising score of the night. Midlothian 28, Red Oak 7.
Wow. That's wild.
Red Oak 9-1. Their only loss coming to Duncanville has now gone down by 21 points. There's 10:37 left in that fourth quarter. When we come back, we'll go in depth on 6A Division II in the playoffs as we continue to run down the bracket. It's playoff week number 1 here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We'll take a quick break here. We're live from the Star in Frisco, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Facebook, I guess Vimeo and Twitter. I almost said Instagram, but no, we're not on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram.
Just follow us.
Follow us.
Doesn't matter.
Watch.
However
subscribe.
you're watching, we're glad you're with us. More Whataburger Friday Night Stars will come up after the break here in just a little bit.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. and electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a Forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! Into your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called Fan Tag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. Fan Tag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the Fan Tag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try Fan Tag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Just saw a little bit of Bob Lilly promotions. Bob Lilly, of course, Dallas Cowboys legend, here from the Star in Frisco. A couple of those Lombardi trophies just above us upstairs here at the Star. Glad you're with us. Whataburger Friday Night Stars continuing here from the Star in Frisco as Texas high school football playoffs are in full swing. Safe to say, so much happening around the area. And guys, we've got double overtime between Keller and Louisville.
Oh, baby!
27-27. They're going to double OT. Man, it has been a fun game to watch, and we've got plenty more to come. Do want to give a little bit more of a shout out. Bob Lilly Promotions hooking us up with some sweet swag, a little bit of jacket action we're rocking. We may have to shed these and show off the polos here in just a little bit. But guys, some of the top games around the area, what's going on your screen about Texas high school football right now?
Oh, man. Well, I'm looking at this Haltom game. Haltom and Arlington Bowie. We got Haltom making the comeback. They were down at half, and then Michael Black and company lead a nice drive. He caps it off with a 20-yard touchdown pass, and now Haltom takes the lead. This one's been really back and forth.
Let's take a look at more in-depth at that 6A Division II Region 1 and really where Haltom and Bowie are headed in terms of their matchups. Of course, they're also there with Hebron and Fossil Ridge, but yeah, that Bowie game, it looked like early Arlington Bowie was starting to kind of live back up to the expectations that Mr. Zach Wolchuk had across the table from me earlier in the season. But once again, Haltom just kind of figuring some things out as we look at the Buffaloes here. They're up 32-28 is that score with 7:55 remaining in the third quarter. Michael Black with 163 yards, 8 of 12 passing and 2 touchdowns. Hasn't had to do a ton so far, only 12 passing attempts. Does that surprise you a little bit with the way that Michael Black's been able to fill up the stat sheet this year, guys?
No, well, I mean, he's been unbelievable. He's doing it on the ground. He's really been everything for them offensively tonight. Honestly, if it was, they also had a kickoff return for a touchdown that really helped them add more points to the board. But it's been that Haltom defense that's been really disappointing tonight. Bowie came out there, and we knew Bowie had the potential to really go off offensively.
Oh, yeah.
They've struggled in the last couple of weeks for having 8 turnovers in the last 2 weeks. But we know that when they're clicking, Malcolm Mays and company can really light up the scoreboard, and that's what they did in that first half. And Haltom really didn't have any answers defensively. I know Haltom just took the lead now, but they haven't set foot on, their defense hasn't been on the field yet for that second half. Let's see if they can stop that Bowie offense, because in the first half they couldn't at all.
Yeah, you're going to have to put some respect on Malcolm Mays' name.
Man, Michael Mays is the real deal. The kid can ball. The kid can ball, and he showed it. I mean, putting Arlington Bowie up, but credit Haltom here. They got up down 28-18. I think it might have been a little bit of a shock. Keep in mind, they hadn't been in the playoffs for a while, but to score 3 straight possessions and go ahead and retake the lead. I mean, there's no fight. There's no quit at all in Haltom.
There is no quit. There is no fight in the Haltom Buffaloes. And one of the reasons why I know that, I just got a text from Jackson Dunavant, who's on the scene at that game. Interception, Haltom.
Wow.
That defense stands strong, at least on the first drive of the second half.
That's
able
huge.
to get there.
That's been the issue for Bowie, right? Also the turnovers. We talked about that in the preview show. It's just they'd been turning the ball over too much.
And the big thing is this was a turnover inside the Bowie red zone. Wow. So Bowie was knocking on the door. It was inside the Haltom red zone.
Gotcha.
And so they get it on their own 18-yard line. But you can't turn the football over, especially whenever you're threatening to find pay dirt. You get toward the end zone, you just can't do that, and that's exactly what Bowie just did.
Yeah, those things are momentum. Those are momentum killers, and they just take you out. I mean, you can't do that. It's all you see it in professional football. You see it in college football. Guys make those turnovers at the wrong times in the game, especially in the red zone. Is the worst time to turn the ball over.
Do have a quick final, one of the first Friday finals of postseason this year. Let's go across the hallway. This is at the Ford Center right now. A very, very, very good Frisco Reedy squad against the Ennis Lions. And, man, Frisco Reedy just kind of barrels their way to a big-time win at the Ford Center. We're skipping from 6A back down to 5A, but that's a good Reedy squad. And, man, they got the job done tonight. Final score 47-21 over Ennis, as we get a chance to look at some of the highlights there. And that's really the story. You saw the big rumble, tumble up the middle and a touchdown run. That time it was Michael Ferreira, and the running game was there for Frisco Reedy all night long as they get the job done at the Star in Frisco. And that's a team in Frisco Reedy that you look at on paper, in the way that they've been able to kind of blow through their opponents throughout the entirety of the 2018 season. They've got to be at least in the conversation for favorites in that 5A division.
Hey, we talked about them, Aledo, South Oak Cliff. They're right in the mix as a potential state champion. And, at quarterback, they've got the guy. Foskey, and he did it again tonight. And like you said, Ferrara on the ground, 3 touchdowns rushing. So Reedy is a complete football team. Forced a couple of turnovers. They did their thing.
Now, the one thing about Reedy, where does the road go? Because I understand it based off of where they are, things are about to get real for them, right? We've gotten out of the, some of the competition. It should be a little bit stiffer for them. In the next segment of the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're in a tough region.
It very well could be. Well, they've got the winner of Red Oak and Midlothian. And so that's going to be the game that they would come up against next. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Midlothian because Red Oak has not looked as good. So a little bit easier, I guess you could say, with it. Midlothian, I know they're going to probably win the football game, but we would probably agree that Red Oak would be more of a chance to beat Reedy than Midlothian.
Well, at least we think so.
Yeah, I mean, coming into tonight, I certainly thought
they were both good football teams,
Yeah.
but I did think Red Oak had the slight edge, but evidently Midlothians had their number tonight. We did talk about they were in the same district. They knew each other well. They're within, I think, 20 minutes apart from each other. So Midlothian, they might have a test for Reedy, but they just look like a well-oiled machine. They look great.
I think you look at the path with what they have throughout Region 2, I think they got to get to the regional finals and the quarterfinals in the state, because they've got Centennial. Burleson Centennial might be the best part of that bracket down at the bottom as we see the final score pop up there. 379 total yards overall for Frisco Reedy. But I think the way that Reedy looks at it, you got Red Oak, Midlothian next. That might be the toughest matchup. Then you have Corsicana, Lake Dallas, Centennial, and Kimball. That's the bottom of the region. But then once you get to the quarterfinals, state quarterfinals, that's when you would match up potentially with an Aledo or a Frisco or some other schools like that. Aledo would be in that regard probably the favorite. But other than that, it looks like a collision course right now with Reedy and the way that they've been playing.
It really does. And I think Frisco Reedy, man, if they're the team that you want to rock with, I see no qualms about it. I mean, they look really, really good. I know that's a team we've all had our eyes on now the entire year long, and I know down the road in 5A, they're going to have to meet some likely tough opponents, especially when you get to that regional final, but I think that they should be there. If they're not, it's a disappointment.
Well, let's go back to 6A. We talked about Bowie and Haltom. How about Hebron versus Fossil Ridge? This is a Hebron-Fossil Ridge game that we looked at earlier as a potential toss-up in its own right, and Hebron, on the other hand, a team that's also kind of pitter-pattered down the stretch. Well, this is a tight defensive football game with a little bit of time left in that fourth quarter, but Hebron currently leading over Fossil Ridge as we take a look at the score, 10-7. And I talk about defensive. How about underneath 170 yards for both teams offensively throughout 3.5 quarters of this one?
Yeah, 2 catches for 27 yards from Trajan Bridges. Boy, you could tell, like you said, a defensive showdown. That is what this has been, because I don't think anyone has held Bridges to 27 yards all season.
Does have that touchdown, though. Hebron's only score. He's got it, and that's why they're up 10-7 right now in the fourth quarter. But we knew. I mean, this was going to be – this is Fossil Ridge football. They keep it low scoring. They don't score a lot of points. They count on their defense. The thing is, who was going to make the play for them? Maybe they go ahead and make a quarterback switch late in the fourth quarter, get a touchdown to win it.
Throw out Stolman, man. He's the comeback king, it seems.
That's how they've been doing it.
Yeah, it is how they're doing it. And in order to be the comeback kings, you have to be down. And the next game we're going to go to, just sticking with that Region 1 of District 6A Division 2, one of the teams that we haven't seen down a whole lot this season, Cedar Hill trails Richardson Pierce right now, 20-14 in the fourth quarter. Cedar Hill, the Longhorns. Yes, that's right.
Wait, Shane the Main?
Shane the Main is now trailing 20-14 because Richardson Pierce just now punched it into, or actually they kicked a 42-yard field goal to make it 20-14. They were up 17-14.
Yeah,
man.
I said it, man. It's all about Pierce and Bo Brewer and what they're able to do. The Mustangs definitely have the elixir for the Longhorns, and it looks like they've come into tonight's game with a perfect game plan, short passing yards. They've had a few runs from Landon, who has, I wouldn't say by a long shot Daquan Landon hadn't dominated this game, but he's definitely made it interesting, and that's why you have this 20-14 lead by Pierce.
Yeah, that's an impressive showing, really, overall for Richardson Pierce. Now they're going to have to stop that Cedar Hill offense for 10 more minutes of the football game, which they've been able to do for really the majority of it. But do you guys count Cedar Hill out? I know you probably shouldn't, and the answer is probably no. But is this a legitimate shot that Pierce takes this from Cedar Hill and knocks him out in the first round?
At this point, I think it is. We've only seen this a handful of times from Cedar Hill this year where they've had this kind of really doldrum offensive performance. I mean, Shane Lawrence has an interception. He's got no touchdowns. He's really struggling, and it's just crazy. Off a high of that win over DeSoto, your crosstown rival, you get a co-share of a district title, and they're playing a J.J. Pierce team who, quite frankly, I think that they're better than athletically, on paper, talent-wise, but Bo Brewer's the real deal. This is probably the best team that Pierce has had in at least a decade. So, look, everything's just kind of falling into a place. Right now, Cedar Hill's offense is not playing up to par. Shane Lawrence is struggling. J.J. Pierce is taking advantage, and they're making the plays
But
tonight.
the tell of the tape is obviously the 4 turnovers that Cedar Hill has had.
Yeah.
They are shooting themselves in the foot tonight.
Yeah.
If you want to get upset, that's how you do it, man. And we do have a final, by the way. It took double overtime.
Oh.
But we got a final.
Who was it?
The Louisville Fighting Farmers held off Keller in the second overtime. Louisville gets the dub. They are moving on. They win their first playoff game, advance for the first time since 2007.
I think I took Louisville.
Win
Incredible.
for Louisville.
I know I took Louisville.
You took Keller. We both took Keller.
You also took Keller.
Did I really?
Yep.
We took Keller.
Yep.
I think I took Louisville.
Oh wait, no, you took Louisville. They took Keller.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a Keller. I'm definitely a Louisville guy.
But
I'm a
heck,
Fighting Farmer.
Hey, that was a close game. Went down to the wire. Give Louisville a ton of credit to fight back. They were down 13-0 to force overtime.
Yes.
And we were wondering where's the offense going to come from. It was AJ Newsome, and then their defense. They're up. They score first to start the second overtime. Keller then gets it, and their defense says, nope, it goes back again to their bread and butter. Their defense comes up, makes the stop when they needed to. Big win for the Fighting Farmers.
I tell you what, I gotta say this, man. Enoch and Chobo, man, I've been enjoyed saying your name all season.
Yeah, me too.
Absolute stud. And credit to Louisville, man, because that's a team right there that, scoring 33 points. If you told me before the game this was a 33-27 game, I'd have said Keller wins that game.
Yeah,
Keller wins that game, absolutely. So great for them. They usually win ugly, and they broke the 30-point barrier tonight with 2 turnovers offensively, still getting it done. Double overtime, and it doesn't get any better than that.
No, doesn't get any better than that. And what a season for Keller and the Indians. They also fought through some adversity as well.
We've got obviously Nick Nepix there, and we've got a reporter at that game as well. But it looks like in that final drive in overtime, Sloan Henry got sacked to start the drive and came out of the game. I don't know if he got hurt, but it ended up being Damon Smith who came in relief of Sloan Henry, and then they go 3 and out. They have to go for it on 4th and 14. Obviously have to pass the ball. So to lose your starting quarterback in that moment, that is a tough blow for the Keller Indians.
It's an unbelievable blow for the Keller Indians, and there's a lot of teams that we've seen have had some injury issues, and sometimes that's all it takes to derail what is a very good chance at a long postseason run. And I kind of want to take a look at the bracket of what's kind of conspiring over there with Louisville and Keller, because we'll look up at what they've got going on. But that's one of my favorite regions, Region 1 and Division 1, or Division 6A, Division 1, I should say. 6A, Division 1, Region 1. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. And you look at the final there, they move on. Well, they face the winner of Duncanville and South Grand Prairie, which right now is still in the middle of a dogfight. And then you also got Odessa Permian there, Arlington Lamar, who is just whipping up right now on San Angelo Central. It's really getting entertaining inside that entire region. And 6A Division 1, Region 1, got it right that time, is just looking like it could be one of the premier divisions in the entire state.
And we're talking about injuries. Jaquindon Jackson's down for Duncanville at quarterback right now. So, they're holding on to a 7-point lead as we speak against SGP. But all of a sudden, you don't have your main offensive weapon for Duncanville. If SGP can get in the end zone, tie this thing up, maybe come away with a win, all of a sudden things are kind of falling into place for Louisville if they want to make a run.
Yeah, well, it's amazing the fact that, with that great defense that Duncanville has, that one injury like this can, have a team be 7 points away or 4, points away from actually upset. This is going to be the upset of the night if they pull this out.
Then we're not going to get our collision of Allen and Duncanville.
I know, we've been
that is big. I do have an update on that game, though. It is now a 2-possession lead for the Duncanville Panthers, a safety. Duncanville forced a safety because the ball was snapped out of the end zone.
Leave it to the defense, baby.
Got to do something.
They've got to get it done.
They've got to get points any way they can right now. I don't know how serious that injury is to Jaquindon Jackson.
Credit to Drake Logan. He's the backup quarterback, came in for Jackson, and Drake Logan's actually played quite well. 9 for 13 passing, 92 yards and a touchdown. Does not have an interception, at least as of right now, which earlier in the season, that's definitely been well, actually, I'm looking at that, and that says Drake Logan plays for South Grand Prairie. I guess I got wrong information from somebody, but it's okay. Other than that, good play from Drake Logan for South Grand Prairie to at least be in that ball game. So it's a good stat line nonetheless. Let's go back to that 6A Division 2 Region 1 where Weatherford and Arlington, we talked about them a little bit earlier. Ja'Cory Rogers and company are taking care of Weatherford, but Denton Geyer and Flower Mound, this is one of the favorites, at least across the table, in terms of games tonight. What's going on between the Wildcats and the Jags here?
I'm having my chest out for this one, boys.
Woo!
Yeah, you said it.
Wow. You did.
Unbelievable.
What did I say? What did I say?
Geyer loves chaos, and
Geyer
Coach
would win
Walsh
this football
is
game?
incredible.
You did say that.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
You did. Well, I tell you what, that Geyer offense has exploded tonight.
They did.
So much for the sophomore jinx.
Eli Stowers.
So much for the sophomore jinx. I mean, 52 points versus a Flower Mound team that has been rolling in their district. It says everything about this team. I mean, Geyer at a certain point with Cobbs, I mean, they looked like an unstoppable force. And then the last couple games of the season, they look like a stoppable force. Yeah. And now they found their mojo. I mean, if they win this game, they have definitely going to be able to say that, look, they beat a very qualified Flower Mound team that probably overlooked them.
And keeping Pierce Hudgens in that Flower Mound offense to 57 yards rushing.
Yeah,
It's
that defense
absolutely
forcing 5
incredible,
turnovers. And that's what I was, I said before this. Geyer's defense has been there the whole time. Even though they've lost these last 2 weeks, their defense played well. They just didn't get the play from Stowers at quarterback and Cobbs. And if that offense could come out and play well, which they clearly did tonight, Geyer would be just fine. And they just find a way. As soon as you start to think, well, they're done, a John Walsh coach football team, you put him in the corner, he finds a way to get these kids ready to play.
Cobbs has 310 yards.
Good Lord.
Nikes.
He's the money man. He's the money man.
Oh, my God. 310.
That's what you do, man. You got a young sophomore quarterback, hasn't been playing well. Just give it to your
4
beast mode running back.
touchdowns.
Let him go dominate.
He has been, oh my goodness, he has been.
Killed it tonight.
I won't use that word. He has been running over people tonight.
Yes, yeah, he has been. And I mentioned that Arlington game. I now have a final for that one as well. I was kind of waiting for it to turn final. Arlington 49, Weatherford 16, Jahari Rogers and company getting that one
Geyer
really taken care of.
Is also a final now as well, 52-21. They have defeated Flower Mound.
Jahari Rogers for Arlington, 203 yards, 203 yards, 11 for 21 passing, and 4 passing touchdowns for Rogers in the 49-16 win over the Weatherford Kangaroos. No more Kangaroos inside at least the 6A playoffs.
Are the Hippos still alive?
The Hippos are still alive. Hutto is a very good team. We may see some Hippos.
There we go.
Pretty deep into
See
December.
the Hippos in the state championship potentially.
Very, very well could be. They have a nice little route, but even Geyer now, as they move on to face the winner of Lake Highlands and Mansfield Lake Ridge, that Mansfield Lake Ridge team looks scary right now, as they are really just kind of taking the Lake Highlands Wildcats to the woodshed. 45-14 is that score. And I thought this was a chance for Lake Highlands to maybe get a little bit closer and have a chance to maybe make this a game. Not the case with 8:14 left in the fourth quarter, as really Lake Ridge has just controlled it. Chandler Rogers, 230 yards on 16 of 21 passing and 4 touchdowns, as he continues to add on to his over 1,600 yards of passing in the 2018 season, and that's with being out for quite some time.
Yeah, and he's got over 100 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. He's really been
add on to that.
Yeah, he's been the focal point, the dominant guy all year, and tonight's been no different. I was hoping Lake Highlands would be able to come in there, put up some more points, maybe make this a little bit of a game, but they haven't been able to do that. Jackson Thompson, he's their dual threat quarterback, running back. He hasn't been able to do anything from the quarterback position. Only 1 interception, no touchdown passes, and this is an offense that thrives on him being able to run the ball and throw the ball, and that's not happening at all. Mansfield Lake Ridge defense tonight deserves a ton of credit, as does obviously Chandler Rogers.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Chandler Rogers and that defense are now going to have to face Denton Geyer. How about that matchup? Lake Ridge and Geyer next week.
It's an enticing matchup without a doubt. And they actually played a few years ago in a non-district game. This is when Lake Ridge was 5A and Geyer defeated them. Now, that was a young Lake Ridge team. Now those guys are up in seniors. So how things come full circle, my man. That's going to be a brilliant matchup in the area around between Lake Ridge and Geyer.
Do have a final from Mallory Hartley. She's at Lamar and San Angelo Central. Lamar wins that one in, let's just say, easy fashion. 55-14. Final score is Arlington Lamar just takes care of San Angelo Central. That was a pick'em game. Hey, who picked San Angelo Central?
We've already been there and done that.
I just wanted to I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Did you pick San Angelo Central?
No. I picked
Eric,
Lamar.
did you do it?
I learned my lesson
certainly
last
did not.
time.
Oh, okay. Hey, Heckma.
Hey,
Okay, we'll
yeah,
move.
you want to get on this Prosper and Garland Naaman Forest
Yeah, why
game?
not? Let's talk about that game.
Yeah,
we'll
let's go right ahead.
6A Division II, Region 2. Another good region in Naaman Forest. Do you have good news about Naaman Forest there?
I have no good news. It's good night, Irene, for the Rangers. And, time to go to California and fight some fires, guys. It's over. It's done. It is
They need the help.
Huh?
They need the help, I guess.
And they all do.
I don't want to
This
go
was
there.
a close game for the majority of the time, though. I mean, Yarland Naaman Forest hung in there for a little while, and then Prosper.
Well, yeah, and you say the little while, it was all, first quarter they held Prosper Eagles to 6 points, and then, it came down to a Cody Garlegos 33-yard interception to get them up 13-0, and they just couldn't stop the water from running after that.
Yeah.
It's over.
41-21, Prosper over Naaman Forest. That's not a final yet, is it?
It just went final.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Just went final. And look, Wayne Anderson, we know, like that Prosper offense, another very balanced team with Wayne Anderson on the ground, Keegan Shoemaker through the air. They've got another good offensive line there at Prosper. So a game that we anticipated Prosper would have too much for Naaman Forest. Another rematch game. Prosper defeated Naaman Forest in non-district play as well. And again, the Rangers, despite their run to make the playoffs, which was an admirable accomplishment, they just ran up against the buzzsaw that is the Prosper Eagles right now.
Yeah, they are a buzzsaw, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch Prosper move on. They'll most likely play Longview in that second round. Copperas Cove and Longview battling it out right now. But, man, that's going to be a fun matchup with the Prosper Eagles and potentially the Longview Lobos. So we're going to take a quick break here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Get set for the final hour of what is round one of the playoffs overall by district matchups here from the Star in Frisco. Glad you're watching, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, or Twitter. Keep on with us as we continue into the 10 o'clock hour. Whataburger Friday Night Stars will return in a moment.
Nothing works up my thirst for an ice-cold Pepsi Cola like getting buckets. Whether I'm breaking ankles or breaking hearts.
Hey, Drew.
It always brings the refreshment, and I've been drinking it a long time.
Drew, how old are you anyway?
Man. Doesn't matter. Uncle Drew, in theaters, June 29th. The future tastes good.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Much more coming to you from Whataburger Friday Night Stars, here from the Star in Frisco. That's just down the hall from where we get to record every Friday night from 5 to 7 and then from 9 to 11. This is Friday Night Stars Overtime, hour number 2. Boys, we've got 60 minutes to inform everybody of high school football and the results around the areas. Are you up for the challenge?
Always, man.
Good.
Born ready.
That's
Born
what we're
ready.
here for.
Zach and I, it's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot.
We ended
there's
up
been so many
shredding.
finals, so much going on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So this is going to be a fun hour because there's so much going on in the by-district round.
Is there ever?
Yeah, there is. Already had a double overtime game, had some upsets as well. Heckma, you look like you're keeping an eye on some games. What are you looking at right now?
Stressing over there.
You know what? I mean,
he's so stressing.
Duncanville, man.
He's got the
Double back
sweat
board.
on.
Oh, is it Duncanville?
Got him shit.
Well, the starting quarterback's hurt now, so Heckman's worried.
Well, all of the scenarios.
Oh, they
go
scored a touchdown. Don't worry, it's okay. Duncanville's going to win tonight.
Okay. South Oak Cliff is completely stomping. Can we get to some 5A?
Let's go to
You're showing a lot of 6A love.
Let's do some 5A. But first, I do want to reintroduce you guys. Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, as we enter into the final hour. And yeah, let's do some 5A. Let's start with 5A Division 1, Region 1, a great region. Birdville and Boswell last night was a final. Grapevine Crowley was a final as well. Those were two good games, but how about let's go down to Region 2, and that's where things really get into it, especially with the Colony and Timberview. That's where we'll start. It's 5A Division 1, Region 2, Timberview. Early in this game, led pretty handily over what the Colony had given to them earlier, because the Colony looked like a team really going into the playoffs that had a chance to make a little bit of a run. Well, Timberview had a lead early. What's going on in that football game right now, guys?
Well, the Colony just absolutely not being able to do anything offensively. Mikey Harrington and that offense coming into the game, and we knew about that three-headed monster, Harrington at quarterback, Abdallah, and then Miles Price. And they haven't been able to do much. Harrington through the air. Last I saw, he was like 7 for 22, just over 100 yards. You're talking about a guy who's throwing for 300-400 yards a game, and this Colony offense isn't doing that. And you got to give all the credit in the world to Mansfield Timberview, man. That Timberview defense obviously stepping up. And it's a shame because the Colony was really one of those teams that I felt coming in could really make a run, really well-balanced teams in terms of just being able to put up a lot of points and having a very respectable defense. And Timberview comes out and says, no way, Jose. Mikey Harrington can't do anything through the air, man.
Yeah, and the Colony, a district championship. They had that big win over Lone Star, and they got up 14-0 in this game, and people are thinking, all right, here you go. And then Timberview gets a big 93-yard kick return for a touchdown from Deuce Jones, and it was off and running from there. They had a 38-yard touchdown run, a 38-yard touchdown pass, defense getting some key stops to put themselves up. It was 21-17 at halftime, and then coming on out here, Timberview's defense, they just made the plays that they needed to in that third quarter. They got a couple of big touchdown runs again from Stacy Sneed, and their defense made the stops late in the fourth quarter to keep the Colony out of the end zone.
Yeah, it's all about the turnovers, and you look at it, the turnover is equal. Both teams had 4 turnovers, but it's where you turn the ball over. And, the Colony had some very untimely turnovers where they turned the ball over deep in their red zone. Just just horrible turnovers, wrong time of the game. Definitely changed the momentum in this game, and that's why they got the results that you see, 35-30. And it wasn't like, look, they still scored 30 points. So Harrington Abdallah was still on pace, but Miles Price, man, God bless this kid, junior running back. He just had some costly turnovers at the wrong time.
Yeah, the costly turnovers, and it's crazy because you look at both sides of the football. Both teams turned the football over 4 times. So that it was back and forth, and definitely a chance for the Colony to take this. And it just seems like either Timberview came up with a big stop at the right time, or the Colony just couldn't piece together a real long drive. And you could see that with only 290 yards of total offense. A couple final scores to look through really quickly throughout the area. Allen, much like we thought, moves on. 56-21 was that final Rowlett season. Comes to an end. Wiley 38, McKinney 28. And Wiley wins that football game, and McKinney and the Lions, they are out of the playoffs. That I know in Zach Wolchuk's mind should have been the Plano Wildcats.
We don't need to bring it up. The season's over. Congratulations to Wiley and the Pirates. They got a big home win. That was another pick'em game, I think. We might have all gone.
You can say
Did we split?
He's
split there?
He's still a little emotional.
We split on that one, or what happened?
Well, he don't even want to talk about it. He's just moving on to pick'em.
Season's over.
Love it when he does that.
Okay, well, we'll move on.
Rashad Dixon, you're a heck of a player. Big win for Wiley.
How about Highland Park and looking at Independence as well?
Was it close?
It was not actually that close.
Oh, like you're asking. Heckman knows. He's a huge Highland Park homer.
He
loves himself some Scotty football.
It wasn't as close, or it wasn't as big of a blowout as maybe some were expecting in this game. And Independence has been a good football team. Credit to Kyle Story and company because they fell in this ball game but put up a good fight. If the 3 turnovers wouldn't have been there from the Knights side of things, this might have been a different ball game. But Highland Park, Chandler Morris and company move on and continue their path for a 3rd straight championship if they can continue to win here in the Texas High School football playoffs. But Independence season comes to an end. Logan Brungart, that running back for the Knights, very good season. They put up a couple yards rushing-wise, almost got to 200, a very balanced attack. But in the end, Highland Park's just way too much there.
Yeah, and forcing 3 turnovers. That Highland Park defense is a little bit, underrated. They've been banged up, but still been a very, very good defense. And forcing 3 turnovers, you're never going to be able to beat, Chandler Morris and company when you're, turning the ball over 3 times and you can't even, throw for more than 200 passing yards.
They return one of them for a touchdown.
And you're not going to win at Highlander.
No,
you're not going to win at Highlander.
You can't give Highland Park those kind of opportunities.
Yeah, no, there's no way you can be able to do that on the road, especially at a place where nobody's beaten Highland Park in what has been 20-plus years now. At least the Texas high school football team, still incredible. We talk about it every week, but that
Heckman's so over it. He's got Highland Park fatigue. We talk about Allen fatigue. Heckman's got the Highland Park fatigue.
Look, you guys have beaten me into submission on it. All right,
how's
they're
Lincoln
awesome
doing in the playoffs?
Oh, we got to go there.
I didn't
even hear it.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. We'll move on. How about College Station and Mesquite Poteet? College Station, the defending state champions, and Mesquite Poteet and the Pirates. This game got close at the end. Poteet put up 21 points in the final quarter after trailing early. However, the College Station Cougars get the job done.
Wasn't that a pick'em?
It was a pick'em, and I picked Poteet.
The rest of us picked College Station.
Everybody else picked College Station, but College Station ends up winning this football game 41-38. Adrian Jagus will look at an interview from this game a little bit later on, so we'll go in depth later. But Seth McGowan,
what a football game, man.
Seth McGowan, his football career, or at least his year at Poteet, he will return for his senior season, of course, but his season is over.
He's declaring early. He's third year eligibility. He's out.
Yeah.
He's coming
but
back.
ends the season with over 1,500 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns, and he's also got a couple receptions as well.
Grown man.
Poteet does go down swinging, 412 yards of total offense, but that is going to do it for the Pirates this year.
Yeah, and they really dominated the 4th quarter. I mean, it was just, it's weird, and we've seen this from Poteet. They did the same thing against Sean Tyler. They get down, they're behind, and then, all right, it's 34-17. Let's pump the gas. And there they go, rev it up. A couple of touchdowns, Dalton Dale, McGowan, Cam Lampkin scored with 48 seconds left, and they just weren't able to get the onside kick. But a College Station team we talked about in the open, a defending state champion, that's a really tough first-round matchup.
How about a tough second-round matchup? Because now Highland Park, defending state champion, versus College Station, defending state champion.
And it'll be at a neutral location.
Neutral location. That's going to be a fun football game overall. Heckma, you may have to pick against the Scotties next week.
I'm not. I'm going to pick Highland Park. I know which way to go.
Because you're a homer. It's okay. We've gotten that established. HP. Let's go to the bottom half of that Region 2 bracket, starting with Lancaster and Wakeland. And really, Lancaster finished the season strong with a big win over Woodrow Wilson after losing to Highland Park in that district, and they continue that into the playoffs, defeating Frisco Wakeland 49-28, the Friday final. That one is final as well. Both teams, this was a low-scoring game going into the fourth quarter. Both teams put up 21 points each in the fourth quarter alone. So 42 combined points back and forth in the final frame to bring that one to a close. So a wild finish, but Trey Bradford ran for 384 yards and 3 touchdowns for Lancaster.
Oh, he's going to need an ice bath tonight.
384 yards. He almost hit the 400 mark.
Beast. Needs a little Whataburger. He'll get over it.
16 yards per attempt for Trey Bradford.
Jeez.
Yeah, Lancaster is a team that is very athletic. We got an opportunity, obviously, to see them in that game versus Highland Park. And as much as we joke about it a little bit, it was a lot closer than the score indicated. But you can tell that Lancaster had some athletes at all of their positions. They were just outmatched by Highland Park that night. But good seeing them against a really good Frisco Wakeland team. We've seen them here at the Star a few times, and they never disappoint. They've always played really good football. Sucks that their season ends like this, but, Lancaster is a very tough team.
Yeah, they're good. And we talked about that athleticism and the speed for Lancaster and how we thought early on for Wakeland that would be a challenge, and it was. They got down 21-0. You talk about Bradford. He had touchdown runs of 72 and 80 yards, respectively. That's what the Lancaster Tigers can do for you. And unfortunately for Wakeland, they didn't have the offensive firepower or the defense to warrant the stops to get all the way back into this football game. But that's a good Lancaster Tiger squad.
Wakeland able to throw the ball pretty well, 316 yards on that Lancaster defense. But you look at the rushing yards, and that's the tail of the tape. Despite 3 turnovers from Lancaster's side of things, the rushing yards is what stands out. And you got to chalk that up to just a great night running the football for what is a solid Lancaster team. Now,
got to clean it up, though, with the 10 penalties and 3 turnovers. Not a recipe for winning as you get deeper into the playoffs.
And they got John Tyler, who we saw beat Mesquite Poteet earlier this year.
That's a lot of offense next
points.
week, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of points back and forth on that one as well. That should be a fun one. Now, I guess with Lancaster being out kind of on the eastern side of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that would probably be kind of a Middle East Texas type thing. I don't know where they would actually end up playing that football game. In a neutral site. Maybe they go down to Waco or something like that, or Texarkana, something to play that game. But now going to the bottom half of that Region 2 bracket, got Lufkin, McKinney North. Lufkin, a big-time, really a threat inside that Region 2 bracket. But underneath that, Lone Star and Mansfield Legacy. And we thought maybe there was a chance that Mansfield Legacy defense could stand up in a defensive football game against Lone Star, who's had special defense all year long. Well, that's not the case because Lone Star takes care of business in this one, 41-6. The final scores, the Legacy Broncos see their season come to an end.
Yeah, Julian Larry. We said at the beginning of the season, we said it before the show. He had to show up big for Lone Star. He's had this seat. I mean, he literally, I think it started at the Colony loss, where you've been seeing Larry just get better and better week after week after week, and also getting it to his guys where it counts, and that's Mims. Even though Mims didn't score any touchdowns today.
Well, he had a 40-yard run.
There you have it.
So he didn't catch one from Larry, but they found a way to get him involved.
You understand. So it's all about the connection. You got to, at this point in the season, let's not play around with it. Let's get the ball in our playmakers' hands, and let's win the ball game. One of the things that Lone Star has that a lot of few teams have in the DFW Metroplex is that defense that plays as tough as they do. And it's definitely going to be the thing that leads them through the season. But, guys, that division that they're in is rough.
Yeah, it is. And for Legacy, I mean, they're just down 13-0 in the first half, and they had some self-inflicted wounds. They missed 2 field goals.
Right.
They have an interception inside the red zone. So this game could have been a lot more competitive in that first half. And then in the second half, it was just all, as you talked about, the three-headed monster of Larry, Mims, and Smith did their thing for Lone Star, and 2 crosstown rivals. I mean, afterwards, they come over to shake hands, and Legacy, there's a little bit of a scuffle. The teams have to be separated. Everyone just goes off the field. So I I know our reporter Jared Hannon there was hoping to get a post-game interview, but everybody got escorted off before he was able to, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. We'll get some highlights from that later on as well. They will meet Lufkin, so it seems. Lufkin up 50-28 on McKinney North right now. That game late.
That's a
in
tough
the fourth
Lufkin
quarter.
team, too.
Actually, 50-28 is the final now. That just now went final as I was looking at it. So it will be Lufkin versus Lone Star. Man, look at the matchups inside the bottom half of that Region 2 bracket in 5A Division 1. John Tyler, Lancaster, and then Lufkin, Lone Star.
That's tough.
Those are two really good football games coming up on the docket next week. Well, let's keep going into the Division 2 ranks of 5A as we continue forward here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Lots of finals. Actually, I have a couple finals I do want to get to really quickly. Rockwall final over Belton, 50-14. As Rockwall, that's a good Belton ball club. Now, they are missing their primary quarterback, and so not having him helps out, but they still were able to put up some points. Mesquite and the Skeeters fall to Waco Midway 48-13 as that game goes final.
You're happy about that one,
I'm a little happy about that.
Alma mater.
The Panther pride never dies, of course. We talked about Lone Star. Sunnyvale falls to Gilmer 38-24. We talked about Highland Park 35-14 over Independence. Final from Red Oak. Midlothian 42-13. Red Oak season comes to a close. And I'm sure we'll talk about this game here in a little bit, but that is a huge upset, and it sets up Midlothian against, I believe, Frisco Reedy in that second round. So that's going to be another good game to look at next week, as Midlothian looks like a team that's kind of coming out of nowhere, but still able to get the job done. Azle takes down Colleyville Heritage 52-20. As that season comes to an end for Colleyville Heritage. Prosper 41, Garland Naaman Forest 21, and then so on and so forth. We've talked about the majority of the finals. Other than that, let's go to the 5A Division 2 Region 1, I believe, is where Justin Northwest and Wichita Falls lie, and I am correct, as Justin Northwest and Wichita Falls. That one kicking off at 7:30. Eric, you're keeping an eye on your alma mater here. What's going on with the Texans tonight?
Yeah, man, the Texans absolutely dominated Wichita Falls tonight, and that final is 58-20. And I thought this was going to be the highest scoring game combined, but Wichita Falls just didn't really hold up their end of the bargain there. Now, Northwest absolutely did. Their offense, we said they've been putting up Madden numbers all year. Well, tonight was no different. Austin Ahmad at quarterback, 22 for 26, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns. But their best player, we said it coming in, it's the running back, the Montana State commit, Mr. Demarius Hosey, 351 yards and 5 touchdowns, 13 yards per carry. He was an absolute man tonight. And the amount of yards that Northwest put up, they had 25 first downs, 670 yards, 378 yards on the ground. Man, credit to Northwest. Dominant offensive victory. I didn't know how they were going to show up because, not that Wichita Falls is a phenomenal team, but Northwest hasn't really had to play anybody tough since September, and when they did, they lost those games. So Northwest with an easy schedule coming in, but they come in and just absolutely dominate at home. Nice home victory. Everybody's feeling good right now. So congrats to my alma mater there. And on to the second round we go.
And shout out to Tammy at the front desk, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We love you,
Tammy.
Tammy, a friend of the show, of course, at Justin Northwest as they move on. Alito, Seagoville, that was a final from last night. And Alito and the Bearcats move on to the area round as well. But how about Jason Todd's team, South Oak Cliff, a sneaky favorite and definitely a favorite at the table here in Frisco. South Oak Cliff versus Everman. Heckma, what's going on in that football game?
40-7, South Oak Cliff just having a regular day at the typical day at the office for the Bears. They went in, they took care of business. I know the one thing that I'm looking at here that I know that Coach Todd is not going to be happy about, and that's the 217 yards they gave up to the Bulldogs on the ground. So if I can look at one thing, I'm going to Highland Park this one. So, yeah, they won 40-7, but they gave up 217 yards on the ground. They should blow the whole thing up and start over again.
Gosh, how could they let that happen?
How could they let that happen?
Unforgivable.
So as you can see, they basically played error-free, no turnovers, 10 penalties, 66 yards, but 18 first downs, 410 total yards, guys. 329 yards on the ground, but it was the Cameron Davis show. That's the kid I was telling you about that's lightning quick, qualifier in the 100 and 200. He just took over this game, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And it wouldn't be a Golden Bear victory without a defensive score. Tonight it was DeAndre Dansby, Eric's guy, a player to watch from a few weeks ago, had a 35-yard scoop and score for South Oak Cliff.
Take it to the house.
Defense continues to roll.
Yeah, they rolled well tonight as, once again, South Oak Cliff continues to dominate, only with 81 yards passing. Eric, I know earlier you said that you can't win without passing the football.
But
well,
you can.
You can.
No,
you can
well, unless you
unless
have the best defense in all of the land.
You prefaced your statement with that.
I
was
appreciate
there.
it.
Okay. I was there.
I was
paying attention. Okay, good to know that we're paying attention here. Frisco defeated Sulphur Springs last night. We visited that one early in the pre-show. Let's go to, we talked about Ennis and Reedy. And Reedy, of course, takes care of Ennis pretty handily there. Let's talk about that Midlothian win. 42-13, the final score over Red Oak. And what a game that was from Midlothian and the Panthers, as they were just absolutely unbelievable. And none of us really gave Midlothian a chance. And I know I'm as guilty as anybody. Midlothian surprised me really from the get-go from taking that lead, but they were just able to continue that throughout the 4 quarters as well.
Yeah, the running game, man, for Midlothian took over. Nolan Samek, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but it, basically had a dominating performance, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Panthers just, obviously when you come into this, you think based off of past performance that, Red Oak, this would be a game that they would dominate, but not so fast. Midlothian came in with a different game plan.
Yeah, and they scored 36 unanswered points.
Yeah.
And this was a 7-6 game. And then Midlothian, we talked about it coming in. Midlothian is a team that just, another one, couldn't pass the ball well. Tonight, they did it on the ground. They did it effectively, and they still did have a passing touchdown. I think their quarterback was held under 100 yards passing, but did have the score.
They had 1.
That's all she wrote. That defense, though, to hold Red Oak, who had come in as a pretty prolific offense within the area, their defense stepped up and really had an excellent football game to force a couple of turnovers there and to hold Red Oak, who also was a very good running team, in check for the most part, other than Zaid Aziz, their quarterback, who's a dual threat guy, got nothing through the air, 37 yards passing total through the air. And when you get down that much for both these teams, if either of those teams were to go up and get up by multiple scores, it was going to be a challenge for the other to come back because of the lack of the aerial attack.
It's unbelievable to look at Red Oak and see them only put up to 216 yards of total offense, because that's a team that we thought was going to kind of roll through Midlothian, and instead they are on their way out and on their way home after not getting the job done. And now that sets up Reedy versus Midlothian next week. Of course, an all DFW matchup. It would have been that regardless, but a pretty good week 2 match. I wonder if that game is back here at the Star. There's probably a good chance of that, with Reedy being as dominant as they've been, and of course the Midlothian team not being too far from here. But looking from a little bit down farther on that Region 2 list, Burleson Centennial and Dallas Kimball. Woo! How is that game turning out?
Well,
it didn't
not
turn
very
out.
good for Kimball, man. Holy smokes. My goodness. So Burleson Centennial, they're incredible. My goodness. They dominated this one 70-12.
So Eric, this is how you start your segment. You say what had happened was, and then you go into what you got.
Well, my goodness. Centennial's offense they had over 500 yards, and it was all rushing. They had 12 different guys carry the ball for them. They only threw the ball 6 times. They ran it complete all over
12
Kimball.
different guys.
12 different guys carried the ball for them tonight. That is insane. I've never heard of anything like that. They absolutely put it on Kimball. Kimball can't do anything. You come into the game wanting to run the ball with
Wait a minute.
with Cortavius Smith.
12 different
Yes.
12 different
They
dudes.
a dozen different people.
Listen to one of them, Jeff Curvin, had 9 carries. 4 of them went for touchdowns, and out of those 9, he ran for 173 yards.
Jeff, the
Unbelievable
Iceman
night
Curvin.
for Jeff Curvin.
What a stud.
Stud muffin.
Centennial is going to be somebody. I mean, you don't want to mess with Centennial now. I mean, we didn't know a ton about this team coming in. We knew they had really good defense. They showed that tonight. Holy smokes, can they run the ball? We say you want to be able to throw the ball at least a little bit. If your defense is that good and you can put up over 500 yards, you got 12 different guys that you trust running the ball. I mean, my goodness, go for it. Centennial, 70 points.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad Kimball team.
No.
That's an 8-win Kimball team coming in here.
Yeah, not at all. Very good Kimball team.
Goodness.
They played sock for the district title a couple weeks ago.
Who has Centennial got now?
They get the winner of Lake Dallas and Corsicana, and I'm just now looking at that game.
Corsicana's up 53-31.
Ding, ding, ding. With
So
3.5 minutes left in that fourth quarter.
Burleson Centennial. Incredible, dude.
Yeah. So Burleson Centennial, that's a matchup. Those two schools are not very far apart. Burleson, both Corsicana and Burleson on that south side of DFW. Corsicana a little bit farther down geographically, but there's a chance there for Burleson Centennial. Maybe that game's in Midlothian, something along the lines of that. I'm trying to think of where these games could end up being. I don't know about the dates or anything, and that's just a guess on my part, so don't take anything really for credit. As we look at that UIL 5A Division II Region 2, talk about that Reedy Midlothian matchup. Both teams winning pretty handily. Midlothian, of course, the upset over Red Oak. Then Corsicana, Lake Dallas, that game looks like it's about to go final, with Corsicana would be moving on to play Burleson Centennial. I don't know. 70 points up on the board in any playoff game is impressive.
And they threw the ball 6 times.
Yes. So I think if you're looking at Burleson Centennial, you do not want any piece of the Trojans. And I know Corsicana is still on the full football field right now, but they're going to get back into the locker room. They're going to look at Whataburger Friday Night Stars, and they're going to be like, oh, my goodness.
They're going to be like, holy crap, we got to prepare for 12 guys to carry the ball against us? We don't have time to game plan against these guys.
I don't even understand how you get 12 guys.
I don't either.
I mean, what is the offensive coordinator just saying, hey, who haven't we got to run today?
That's what happens. Once you get up to about 55-0, you say, okay, let's go ahead and throw these other guys in.
It's going to be a great running game because you got Corsicana. They've got just under 500 total yards rushing today as well. So,
wow.
Two teams that are going to come in. They got two running backs that have over 160 yards. One's got 300 yards. That's Dejoun Nathan. Don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Mr. Nathan. We're just going to go. Mr. Nathan has 300 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns for Corsicana. So that's going to be a run-heavy game. Might be done in 2 hours.
There you go. Well, then Friday final will come quickly next week on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Parish Episcopal Taps, a little bit of an update here. 56-14, they take down one of the San Antonio Taps teams that they played earlier today. They'll play Nolan Catholic next week. Nolan Catholic, pretty stout team as well.
Preston.
Exactly right. So Parish. Preston Stone. Yeah, Preston. I like that. I see what you're doing here. Okay, I like that.
Heckman's guy.
Melissa in the Cardinals, 56-38, the final score over Alvarado as the Indians are done. Melissa in the Cardinals coming out of that very tough district, and well, they get the job done at the 4A level as we go a little bit farther down into that one, and that game has just now gone final. So now looking at Melissa, they'll take on Waco La Vega next week, and that's going to be another tight football game. And Waco La Vega, one of the top 5 teams in the state at the 4A Division I level, so we'll see what they have to deal with, but it can't be what Melissa has seen, because Melissa has really dealt with really some of the toughest competition with Salina and teams like that in that district.
Argyle,
that's the one I was really looking for. Yep. Argyle, let's look real quickly at their final score, because we talked about 70 points for Burleson Centennial. Argyle put up some massive numbers as well.
Bet they didn't have 12 guys carry the ball.
I don't know. They might have.
I don't think they needed to.
Find that
no,
out
not really.
They got a guy that can sling it by the name of Bo Hogaboom, and a guy who can catch it by the name of Dylan Carter. They're pretty darn good there at Argyle, man.
70-14, actually the exact same final score as that Burleson Centennial win. But yeah, Argyle and the Eagles, they were up early there. They had 6 players carry the football, including Tito Bryce, who had 10 attempts for 72 yards. How about 4 touchdowns?
Way to go, Tito.
They had 3 in the first quarter. Tito Bryce is a beast.
That's very efficient. I touched the ball 10 times. I scored 4.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Bo Hogaboom
not better than 9 carries for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Or 10 carries for 5 touchdowns.
Okay, we can do this all day.
Fair.
Bo Hogaboom, 16 for 22, 304 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the win. And you guys are.
I know we're too much.
Absolutely too much.
I'm sorry.
It's getting past your bedtime, as it's been absolutely ridiculous starting to get out of hand here from the Star in Frisco. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look through some of the top games throughout the entire DFW area as we continue here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. We're live from the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. This is Whataburger Friday Night Stars.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In a world where a young family embarks on an incredible journey, a son gets lost in an epic film. A father wills his team to victory, while a mother tries to talk to her daughter, who is posting online at a rate she has never seen until now. With high-speed Wi-Fi, free live TV and movies, there's something for everyone. Download the American app, and the best in entertainment travels with you.
I can't stand. Well, we do need to kind of.
Well, probably the hit of the night. Oh!
Hit of the year!
Even better. Rockwall over Belton big. 58-13 the final score. Let's see it again. Why not? We've seen it all night. Anthony Orgy, one of the best
But he
defenders.
caught the ball.
He did
catch the ball.
That's incredible. That's even the better part about the
Got
whole
up and
thing.
lived to tell the tale.
He did.
Toughness.
Man, lots of fun throughout Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Let's get into this really quickly. Bowie Haltom. This has been a game that's been back and forth all night, and we'll talk to Jackson Donovan here in the next 30 minutes or so, or before the show's over, I should say, about this ball game because there's still 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Both teams back and forth, and the Haltom Buffaloes
My goodness.
have pulled ahead 47-41. Man, this has been an unbelievable football game. There was a touchdown run that brought originally Bowie entered the fourth quarter and then scored almost immediately. 1 minute in the fourth quarter, they led 41-32. And then Kenneth Cormier Jr. had a 1 yard run, made it 41-39. Haltom down by 2, and then Michael Black, a 2 yard touchdown run after a fumble was forced by that Haltom defense. And that Haltom defense keeps forcing some turnovers back and forth. We'll go back to this game here in a little bit. But first, let's go to probably the best game by far of the night. Double OT, Louisville and Keller. Man, this was a ball game from the get-go. We mentioned it earlier. And Louisville, the Fighting Farmers, they've been in some tight football games lately. Most of them a defensive battle. Today, not the case. A lot of points in this. And, man, this was a fun football game to keep up with, guys.
Yeah, they shocked us. For my part, I think we've all been saying that it's going to be Louisville's defense that keeps them in games. And, wow, we have an A.J. Newsome sighting tonight, and he took over.
Yeah, it's what an impressive football game. I mean, two programs tasting the postseason. It had been a little while, and they just went blow for blow. I mean, you see right here, really just a touchdown. Fetz and Keller came out, and they got on top early. We talked about the ability of Louisville to fight back, especially in that second half. I mean, they came out roaring in that second half, scored 3 unanswered touchdowns. Keller comes on back with Enoch and Chobo, who had an outstanding night, but it was A.J. Newsome for Louisville. We were asking, who's the player that's going to do it? A.J. Newsome did it, and then to go into overtime like that, double OT, the defense comes up with the stop. I mean, what an incredible finish. Probably the game of the night. Double overtime in the bi-district round. Two really good playoff teams with Keller and Louisville. Unbelievable football game. This is what Texas high school football is all about in the playoffs.
Oh, indeed. Texas high school football, it's the best, especially when it goes into double overtime. And the man on the call for this game for the Louisville Fighting Farmers, the victorious Fighting Farmers, Nick Nepic, is on the phone with us. And Nick, we talked to you in the pregame show. We knew this was going to be a tight ball game. Now, we didn't necessarily think it was going to be as high scoring as it ended up being. What are your thoughts on this Louisville win?
Well, it was a wild game. 3 overtimes, pretty unpredictable when you get to that point. But I think the story was halftime. Louisville was down 13-0 at the break and came out a different team in the second half. They got a couple of lucky bounces, one being a kickoff, a little pooch kickoff that Keller didn't field, and Louisville jumped on it. Interestingly enough, Louisville lost to Flower Mound earlier in the season, and a big momentum-shifting play was exactly the opposite. It was a pooch kick that Louisville didn't field and Flower Mound recovered. Flower Mound went on to win that game 35-27, and Louisville on the other end of it tonight. But it was a wild game. Keller's quarterback, Sloan Henry, went down in the first quarter after a sack. They went to basically the Wildcat after that and had a lot of success in the first half. But the Louisville defense made some adjustments and definitely won the second half.
Nick, talk about really the emotion from this Louisville Fighting Farmer team, a team that had not won in the playoffs for a while. They get that stop in the third quarter. I mean, kind of just describe the scene and the feeling, what that was like to be on the call for that.
It was pretty incredible, to be honest. There was a lot of emotion after the game. There were certainly some tears after the game, happy ones, just for this community. Farmers head coach Michael Odell has been here for the good. He's been here for the bad, and kind of seen it full circle. The biggest play of the game, though, and this was in the second overtime, so obviously overtime rules in high school football, just like college, you start at the 25. Well, Keller started with the ball in the second overtime. They fumble. Louisville recovers. And then Louisville gets the ball and throws an interception. And Keller returned that ball all the way to the Louisville 8-yard line. It was a game-saving tackle by that freshman wide receiver we talked about pregame, Armani Winfield, that saved the game for Louisville and allowed them to win it in overtime. But that was probably the most emotional moment for me on the call, just because I honestly thought the return was going to take it all the way, Armani all the way to the 8-yard line and made the game-saving tackle. But it was full of emotion. It was a roller coaster up and down the entire time. It was pretty incredible, and as the high school Texas high school playoffs, there's nothing like it, and certainly tonight goes in that category.
Man, sounds like a lot of fun. You sound even a little bit out of breath after such an emotional win like that. Nick, rest up. You got some more playoffs to call next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah, I've got to get a voice for next week. But you guys have a good night. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks,
of
Nick.
course, Nick Nepic on the call for Louisville, and as they move on over Keller, what an incredible game that was. Double OT, another great game, back and forth. College Station and the Cougars, defending state champions, as they take down Mesquite Poteet 41-31. Man, that was an absolutely unbelievable game, and College Station led up by head coach Steve Huff, and we'll see an interview with him here in just a moment. But first, can we talk about how this was back and forth? It was kind of high scoring, exactly how we thought it would be, but College Station ends up with the win, with really Seth McGowan still having a really big night, Zach.
Yeah, and Seth McGowan, look, we know this guy is one of the best players in the area, and for College Station, they led really throughout this football game, but for Poteet to come back and make that rally, we've seen him do it time and time again, but Seth McGowan, he did his part, 129 yards, a pair of touchdowns, but this was a College Station team. We talked about, hey, they're the defending state champions. You can't sleep on them. It's an incredibly difficult matchup for both teams to open the playoffs with. And, you got to give College Station all the credit in the world to come out there and get the victory here and really to hold off a rally, a furious rally at the end there for Poteet and go on the road. I mean, Poteet at home gets to host this game. College Station, the long drive to go there, take care of business. Big win for College Station.
Yeah, getting that Whataburger on their way back.
Oh, yeah. It tastes that much better, doesn't it?
Especially after a victory, man. It sure does.
Got it all the way back, and now it sets up a matchup between two defending state champions. One team will advance as College Station will move on to play Highland Park next week. They'll be right back up, probably not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That game most likely, I guess, would be played in Waco. Maybe McLean Stadium for that one, as probably a guess.
You sure you guys not playing at your stadium?
I think that could very well be at AT&T or at the Star.
Ooh, that's true. It could be. You're exactly right. It may be, but
it does work out like that.
I don't really know. I feel like we were talking with Miles Dunkley, and maybe we'll have to get him on the call. Maybe he knows something that we don't about this. But College Station, of course, a very strong team, and they're led by fifth-year head coach Steve Huff. And, of course, what a game or what a team and a program he's been able to put behind. And Adrian Jagus got a chance to catch up with the Cougars' victorious head coach Steve Huff.
Guys, I'm here with Coach Steve Huff, the coach of the College Station Cougars, the winners of tonight. Coach, how do you feel about tonight's win?
Oh, it's a good win for us. Kids, we asked for and play 3 phases, and they finally got it done tonight. So special teams came through big for us.
So I think in the beginning it seemed like you guys for sure were going to win, and they got really scary for a quick moment, and then you guys were 10 points ahead, and they got really, really scary towards the end. Did you find Mesquite to be a challenge tonight?
Oh, absolutely. You got a running back like that and 4 wide receivers they can put out there, and we knew that. And they're very athletic on defense, so it was a matter of trying to peek and poke and find things. And then defensively, you're not going to stop them. You got to try to limit the big plays, and to a certain extent we did. But we gave a couple big pass plays. But again, credit to them. That's a good football team.
So I think the two players of tonight were the two Brandons, Brandon Williams and Brandon Joseph. How do you feel about them? Do you have anything to say about them?
Brandon Joseph right now, as the years gone on, we started playing more on offense, and it's just a matter of us getting to that point where we and we need him out there, but and where he was had a grasp of everything we're doing. He's a good athlete. Ryan Stapp's another one that's playing defense for us, comes over and plays offense, and he scored on that reverse tonight. So you look at that, and Brandon Williams, he's just steady. He's a steady guy, and trying to get down here and run that clock out late and use that big body of his. So finally we got it done.
So do you have any more expectations or hopes for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we look at it 1 week at a time, and we've always done that with the kids. Just said, we can only play one at a time, and trying to get in the tournament, we got in the tournament, and then now you're in, we advance. So again, 50% of the teams weren't playing tonight, 50% more won't play, next week. So, I feel very fortunate for our kids still being.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Final score 41-38 as College Station takes care of Mesquite Poteet on the road. I mean, that's a home game for Mesquite Poteet, and College Station very impressive in the win. Another team that was very impressive in their win, of course, the Allen Eagles. Man, #1 team in the state. They continue to roll up in the 6A level as they take care of a good Rowlett team in emphatic fashion. 56-21 was that final score. We've got Ashley Pickle, the hardest working woman in sports, and of course royalty now, the queen of North Texas. She joins us now here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. And Ashley, first off, thanks again for joining us, and we'll love talking to you every week. But you've kind of been around this Allen team now for a couple of weeks. What did you see, or what did you see tonight from the Allen Eagles that has kind of at least been able to? Oh man, Zach, you were too much over there. Too much.
I'm just excited, man.
You are excited. Ashley, what have you said, or what have you seen tonight from Allen and the Eagles as they have the big win over Rowlett?
I mean, they were unbelievably explosive tonight. Like, they're always explosive. We always have talked about how the offense is what everyone talks about. They put up numbers like crazy. And then we always say that the defense never quite gets enough credit. But I'll tell you what, tonight it seemed like almost every single one of their drives, it was at least like the second or third play. And, I mean, it was a long pass or a long run, either scoring in a touchdown or setting them up on the 3, 1, 2, 3 yard line. So, I mean, they were just unbelievably explosive on offense tonight. And in my post-game interview, I actually asked Coach Campbell, I said, with the offense doing that so often, your defense was out there almost all night. And, I mean, obviously they put up the stops. They only allowed 21 points. But, like, how much credit do they deserve? And, obviously, he talks about how it's a team game and everything. But, really, that defense deserves so much credit because the offense was just every single drive. They were only out there 1 or 2 plays, and there was a 50-yard touchdown almost every time.
Ashley, Zach, with you, thank you again for all your coverage. But now you've gotten to see Allen a handful of times. I mean, if you had to say that this team has a weakness, if any, this is a pretty good Rowlett squad. They came in with a really high-powered offense. What is it going to take if a team is to have a chance to beat Allen?
They have got to.
There's the answer.
That's the toughest question you've been asked all week.
It was a great answer, honestly. That's all we really need.
No, I mean, they're just going to have to stop the long plays. If they can just contain the long plays, that's the only way they're ever going to be able to beat them. And I think that the other thing, too, is like you said, Rowlett coming in tonight, very good team, a team that had at least a shot to beat Allen or at least keep it a close game. And they looked like they had no idea what they were doing. I think that teams come in and they see the Allen guys, and I mean, it looks like a D1 college squad up against like a Pee Wee football squad on some of those wide receiver defensive back duos, and it's just like, I think that they just get scared. And I mean, I was very, very like upset a little bit about how Toe Paul, I mean, he comes in and he's a fantastic quarterback, putting up the exact same numbers as Grant Tisdale all season long, if not even better, especially with the passing yards. And he couldn't complete a pass to save his life tonight. I mean, I think that they get nervous. So it's going to take a team looking at Allen and thinking, we're not scared of you, and then being able to stop those big plays. And people would have a shot, but I think they just get in their head about it.
Yeah, Ashley Pickle on the call for Allen and Rowlett. And surprising that Rowlett even had 21 points up on the board. That's something that has kind of been lost in the shuffle. Allen's defense, was that a little bit of a struggle for the Eagles tonight?
I think so, and I think that the biggest thing, 21 points is more points than they typically give up. I think that the biggest part
so much. We'll talk to you again